So the idea behind this video and the series that it'll start off, that I'm really excited about, is to encapsulate a genre in one set list. I had a professor named Bruce Foreman who did this same concept with jazz, and it really helped me out. And I thought it could be applied to so many more genres and be a really useful teaching tool. The idea is that the set I'll give you, if you learn everything on it, will encapsulate so many of the idiosyncrasies and cliches of that genre that you should be good to learn so many more songs if you even just learn these like 10 or 15. So this is country music in one set list. First up, Folsom Prison Blues. So this is a blues form with only the 5 on the turnaround, as well as only being an 11-bar blues as opposed to a 12-bar blues, where we learn our first lesson, follow the singer. This song could have been a 12-bar blues, but you hear the melody, it leaves so much space at the end that to keep the song momentum going, it actually does make more sense to be 11 bars. When you're playing it live, on the other hand, sometimes it might be 12. Who knows? There is a classic riff and a classic solo in this. With the people I played it live with, it's been in F, it's been in E, it's been in G. I would learn it in a handful of keys, and it would really help you out as far as learning just little melodic ideas and little areas that are easily melodicized on the guitar. Next up is Chattahoochee. So this song has amazing riffs, amazing solos. In the extended version, there's a guitar solo. In the radio edit, it's just a fiddle solo. There's so many wonderful, country isms in this song, as well as a really big takeaway, which is the 2 major chord. So normally you'd hear a 1, 4, 2 minor, 5. But what happens often in country is 1, 4, 2 major, 5. This song does that, as well as changing chords on just, 2 beats, just a little like to keep movement basically, which happens often in country. Another thing about that 2 major chord is that, say it's the key of C, and we have C, F, D minor, and G. You could kind of play A minor pentatonic over basically everything and it'll be fine. But with that 2 major chord and in the style, you're going to want to outline chords a little bit more. And you'd be really missing out on an opportunity to acknowledge that D major chord, that 2 major, and lead it to the 5, the G, and then back to C. Next up is Neon Moon. The guitar comping in the verse can easily be transferred to so many other songs. It involves the root, the 6th, and the 5th. It's a nice little rhythm. You'll hear it in plenty others, but it's really out in the open in this song. You'll notice this solo in this song, the guitar solo, isn't on the neck pickup. Oftentimes during clean tone solos, I think people go a lot to the neck pickup because it's kind of sweeter sounding and also bigger sounding. The solo, to me, kind of sounds like it's on like the middle position of a telly or something. So it can still be bright if you have like the bright switch on your amp and everything like that. It can still be kind of cutting, but here it sounds nice and full and sweet. So a good lesson here would be either your middle position or even bridge position, dialing in, still cuts through the mix, but full and sweet sound. Next up is Man, I Feel Like a Woman. I emphasize that because there are exclamation points in the title of the song. So the main riff in this song is incredibly iconic, although it is still stealable, and you could definitely use it on other songs. It's another song with a really awesome solo, and there's a really good lesson here where there's a part where there's an A flat major that's like, 5, 1, 3, 4, 1, that kind of sound like this. They do the same thing on an E flat major. The lesson there is to create one melodic idea and be able to take it over several chords to help create a movement in the solo. A lot of times solos can just seem like a bunch of melodic content, which is fine, but sometimes these repetitions are helpful for carrying the listener along. Next up is Jolene. So this is solid acoustic playing as well as watch the form. I've played this song with plenty of people, and every now and again, if someone didn't, listen to it and they just saw the chords on Ultimate Guitar or something like that, where the chords change can sometimes throw people. As I mentioned previously, country is sometimes known for having maybe an odd form or a bar of two or whatever to better fit the vocalist, and it'll be really good to get used to that. Next up is Here for a Good Time. Not only does this song have a great guitar riff and plenty of licks that you'd be well advised to learn, but it also has a very important cliche. The chord progression of 4, 5, and then a descending 1, 5 over its third, 6, and then 4, 5, 1. It's standard in country as well as a lot of other music, and one definitely worth learning. Next up is Fast as You. So this song kind of reminds me of Pretty Woman a little bit, but it has a wonderful riff and a few very interesting things. This one kind of has a blues verse, but with a very different turnaround, going again to that 2 major and then a 4 and then 1. And then the chorus is actually a 10-bar chorus, which, might throw some people who might be more used to standard, an 8-bar or something like that chorus. The solos are very cool, but the tone of the guitar is really, really wonderful and very unique, and definitely worth kind of trying to recreate on your own. Next up is Amarillo By Morning. Throughout this song, there are plenty of great fills. There's a few little things like going to the 4, 5 on beats 3 and 4. The song is also just a standard in the genre, similar to like if you played rock but didn't know Sweet Child of Mine, it'd be a little odd. Next up is Redneck Woman. So this is an awesome decorated rhythm guitar part. It's really fun and there's a lot going on in the guitar, although I'd also suggest learning the fiddle and pedal steel solos. They're both 6 bars long, which is a little bit odd, and it's interesting to try to phrase in that amount of time. The fiddle solo also does have the 4, 2 major 5 progression in it. Next up is Last Name. A nice arrangement tool here is that you'll notice that there's like an extra bar before the second chorus. Again, these extra bars will show up often in the genre. This is also more of like country, pop, rock, and you'll hear that in the solo. Soloing a bit too traditional over this song wouldn't really fit it as well. Having a solo that has like some rock and some country in it serves the song much better, and you can hear that in the song. Also, as I'll mention later, it's important to listen to this song and go, what keeps it country from getting just rock or just pop? What keeps it country? And that answer is in this next song, Cruise, which is more modern country, kind of like an anthemic rock country. The progression is very simple, and what keeps it country would be adding auxiliary instruments like a banjo, pedal steel, a fiddle part. These little things that as soon as you add them, you're like, oh, that can't be anything else. Next up is Stay a Little Longer. This is one of my favorite modern country bands, Brothers Osborne. The guitarist definitely leans more toward like a southern rock kind of soloing approach as opposed to a classic country approach, but that is common in more modern country. The second solo in this song is basically a new standard. The song comes up, people are going to want to hear that. It's similar to the Sweet Child analogy from before. If you don't play that solo, I hope you're going to play a better one because it's pretty iconic. Also, if you're able to recreate the effects like the reverbs and such from the recorded version live, good on you. That's going to take a little bit of pre-planning. Next up is My Church. This is a really good song to get your acoustic strumming and basic slide playing together on. Even just the electric rhythm part, which is stabs on 2 and 4, being able to stay throughout the whole song on that is going to be a really good exercise for you. Also, this is another example of a song that has some great guitar tones that would be worth trying to recreate. The last one's a little bit of a curveball called Love Triangle. I think actually she pronounces it Love Triangle. I just happen to really love this song, but I also think it's a fantastic song to get your multi-instrumentalist producer chops together on. The acoustic part is just gorgeous, but there's so many auxiliary instruments that have very specific tones dialed in that if you went in and were able to copy each one, you would really get a better understanding of tone in your effects. It's a really good example of how just even something like a different effect or new sound can really breathe some fresh air into verse 2 or chorus 2. So that's my one set list for country music. I think if you spend a lot of time with these songs and learn them inside and out, memorize them, get the tones down, etc., learning another 200 is going to be a much easier process. And more important, sounding authentic when you need to over a country song is going to be much, much easier. Worst case scenario, you just learned some really good songs and hopefully had a lot of fun. Please like, subscribe, comment. I love talking to you guys, and I'll see you next week.